What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Car Flip Guys for episode 2. Since we got the car running in the last episode, today we are going to finally switch out the ignition and the locks on the trunk and driver and passenger side door. So we were starting with a screwdriver, but now we've got the actual ignition and keys for it. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so here we have the ignition for the key. We've got the driver and passenger side locks, as well as the trunk, and then we have the keys for it, as well as some miscellaneous parts that also need to be installed when installing the locks. So we're going to get that started for you guys. Stay tuned for the rest of it. I'm not sure how well it'll go. This is our first time doing a lock and ignition, so bear with us on that. But we'll do the best we can, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Alright guys, so we're in the inside of the car right now. As you can see, there is the gauges in the dash. So if you come over here, there is where we will be installing the ignition. And as you can see in there, there's a hole drilled out so that we can use our screwdriver to get it started for now. But now that'll get replaced, so we won't have to do that anymore. And as you can see, this here will be going right into this slot. Alright guys, so we're going to start this install by first removing the steering wheel nut, and then after that we can gain access to where the ignition will be placed right there. And so we'll be removing that and then getting this thing installed. Alright guys, so we were able to get the steering wheel off, and that bolt came off fairly easy, but the steering wheel is stuck now on the splining on the steering column. So we're going to run to the parts store and go get a steering wheel puller, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, so we were able to get the steering wheel removed, and now is here we're gonna be working. We're gonna have to remove some of these bolts to take off the existing ignition area, and then we will go ahead and wire and install the new one. Alright guys, so as you can see, we got the ignition switch installed. So the camera decided to die when we were filming, so that's why we're having to explain now of what we did. But when you get your ignition switch for your 71 through 73 Mustang, there's going to be a little pin on it, and what you're going to do is you're going to turn your key to the accessory position while you're holding it before installation, and there's going to be a little pin sticking out, and what you're going to do is you're going to push that pin in and then match up the ends of the ignition to the end of your drive shaft where you're going to be placing your ignition slot. And then what you do from there is you put it in, and once it's fit in, then you just push and then turn, and then that'll lock that into place so that you can't get that out again. And then you will be able to have full access so that you can turn it to accessory, off, run, and on. So once you do that, you'll also see that this here, which is your steering lock, will also react to where the key turns. So that's how you know you had it going the correct way. And also, when you are installing this, you're going to want to remove this bolt, like I said earlier, because this has the wiring that goes to the ignition, which will be able to tell your car that you did turn the key and it is on. So next, we are going to move to the door locks and then the trunk lock. Stay tuned, guys. Alright guys, so what we're going to do is we are going to go detail the engine bay. So here we have our engine bay of our Mustang here, and as you can see, there's a lot of dirty spots on it just from it being 46 years old now. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to detail it completely. We've got plastic restore, we've got degreaser to get off the heavy grease, and as you can see, there's just a lot of dirt on everything. So this is a cheap and quick way to go ahead and make your engine bay look practically new.
And also, before we get started, we're going to take off the hood just to make it easier to get in there and clean everything up. So, here we go. Alright, so first we're going to start with the dry clean, eventually move to a wet clean, and then a detail. So we have some different level of grip brushes to start with, and just break down all the outer layers of dirt and pretty much anything that's just in there with oil, scum like that, and use brushes eventually to get any, outer line dust, stuff like that.
Alright guys, so as you can see here, this is the radiator fan shroud cover, and you can see there's a lot of dirt on it. So we just have our paintbrush here, and we're just gonna brush some of that dirt away, and as you can see, the dirt's going everywhere, but it is coming off. So you can see that doing the dry clean here first is getting a lot of the dirt that's just sitting there, just from, you know, being here for 46 years now. So we're dry cleaning to get all this dirt off, and then we're gonna be moving to the wet clean. Alright guys, so that wraps up the dry clean on the engine. As you can see, we got off a lot of the dirt. You can see more of the blue on the engine block. The radiator shroud cover has a lot less dirt. The rest of this will just have to come off with the wet clean that we do next. So there you can see we've already gained a lot of the color back from this engine bay, and it's starting to really tidy up. So now, here's over to Alex, and he's going to tell you what we're going to do on the wet clean.
Alright, so on to step 2 is the wet clean. We got some heavy-duty citrus degreaser that we're going to be spraying on pretty much anything that can get wet, no electronics, stuff like that. Wipe down with a towel, but first we'll be using some more wire brushes just to really get in there and get it clean. So we just finished our wet clean. We got a lot of stuff cleaned up here. The engine block, we got a lot of blue color out of that. Everything in the black, it's looking real nice. The last step now, we have to take this Armor All. It's basically just a plastic restorer. So any plastics here that are faded, maybe a little gray, crack, stuff like that, we'll put a good coat of this on and everything should be nice and clean.
Alright guys, so for this final segment, what we're going to do is we're going to be taking our Outlast, and we're just going to dab a little bit onto the cloth here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take that, and we're going to bring it over to our black plastics, and we're just going to dab it and rub. And then we're going to rub that all over in there, and then once you get an evenly applied coat, you're going to let it sit. So here's for the rest of it. Alright guys, so here is the before and after still of the engine bay. On the left is before and on the right is after, so you guys can see the difference that the cleaning actually made. Alright guys, so that's going to bring today's video to a close. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I apologize we didn't get to the trunk and door locks. We ran into a few complications while attempting that, but it will happen in a later episode for sure. Also, our upload schedule, we hope that we can get those out a little faster than before. We've had a lot of stuff going on lately, but we will get a normal schedule going soon. So thank you guys again so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you guys in a later episode. Peace.